Take 3. Let's see if I'm going to be successful this time. It's Mercury retrograde. Everything will last more. So guys, it was my intention not to give you guidelines for, hey, you know, this is the general energy. But as I was shuffling and just trying to kind of really meditate on the cards and meditate on signs, well, 3 cards jumped out. So that clearly was to me a sign. I saw the sign. So we have Page of Pentacles, we have 8 of Cups, and we have Queen of Wands. So I'm not going to go in majority of the details other than telling you, well, that's really good news. Look at him. He has a map on the bottom. He kind of has a feeling where he wants to go and what he wants to accomplish. After all, this is a pentacle. And look at the tower where he is heading. He is also flipping a coin up in the air, so he is feeling lucky. Pentacle is basically omen of some maybe new financial future. And I know generally it's new year that we make new resolutions, but this seems to me that November will actually push us in that direction. And in fact, more so with 8 of Cups. Look at her, she's leaving. Does she look like that she's missing something? Nope. Nope. Look at this. All of these cups are nice and solid over here. In fact, one of them is still steaming. She just felt, there's something missing. There's a particular spice. There's something that I really want, and I really want to go in that direction. So this is going to be honoring that kind of thing. And then where we are heading, whoa, ladies, if you're a lady, you will be on freaking fire. You will be setting your affairs, you'll be putting things in order, organizing, doing. It's going to get busy. This is very unusual for the end of the year in Northern Hemisphere, because we go, oh my god, it's 4 o'clock and it's dark outside, or oh my god, it's 9 o'clock in the morning and it's dark outside. It's one of those really hard days to get through, but not this time around. If you're a Cat Tarot listener, you are going to be infused with energy. So Queen of Wands, if you're a guy, would mean that you're going to have a woman organizing you. Hey, just bend over. You might be slapped on your tushy. So no, I'm just kidding. Queen of Wands is a really good sign. It means we'll be willing to move further. So there were 3 cards. It was one after another, after another, jumping out. So what I really liked about that is that actually we do not have swords. Yes, I know I'm Aquarius, I'm a sword element, but we are going to do really okay without thinking too much, because analysis paralysis, maybe it lasted for a few months, but this means, hey, I know I have to do slow and steady. I maybe need to get a few more courses, but I'm getting there. I want to better myself, and then put all of things in motion. So before I start with your sign, let me just give you a really quick announcement, which is usually happening at this time of a year. And yes, this is that time of a year. I'm actually producing 3 times the material. So Mercury retrograde, 3 times the material. Well, what could go wrong? But if you guys are curious about the upcoming year, the fashion of the last 2 years, I'm going to do my annual taroscopes. I might shuffle things around a little bit. Generally, there is general info about the upcoming year in terms of numerology. We are entering a year number 4, but the most important thing, we are entering a completely new decade, right? So if you're curious about basically the upcoming year, if you have multiple plans that you want to implement in 2020, you're just not alone. So these predictions will help you a great deal. Of course, a personalized planning is also available, but this one here is now on pre-order. It is for $19.95 for one sign, and it is for $45 for all 12. So that way you can check your ascendant, you can check your moon sign, and yeah, you can just peek in somebody else's future for 2020. So take advantage of this price. So I'll be working on that during the month of November. Hopefully they'll be fully delivered by early December, and then the price will go up, significantly up. So guys, 2020 is very important year because it marks the beginning of that relationship between Jupiter and Saturn conjunction that initiates a 20-year cycle. Well, if this is something that you really take seriously, if you really want to push forward and have this additional kind of like tricks in your pocket, this is the way to go. So just click on the link, or you can also visit me on social media where I'll be advertising this for the next month to come. So, shall we start? Hello Libra, and welcome to your November forecast. So we have children and we have give your relationship a chance. You know that I don't always read this stuff. For example, your love life is being affected by children. I always, it might be literal, but you see, to me this card is more about that inner child, more about your true desires, more about, hey, what are your true needs? What is that you really want? And it looks to me, I mean, you are a partnership sign. There's like no really question about it. But maybe there's like something, give your relationship a chance, that you're kind of like needing to decide, I'm going to maybe give one more try. I'm going to push this forward, or I guess maybe some of you will feel it is a time to kind of like rip off that band-aid and kind of like move forward without. So it's going to be a whole bunch of stuff happening. So you did have 7 of Pentacles jumping out, and you had 4 of Swords. So that really tells me it's going to be really career push month this month. So let's see when and how to do that. So you have Page of Wands, which is really good. Page of Wands is like that level of activity, and I really believe this is going to connect to Mars. And like, I mean, last month, Mars being around you with your birthday, it kind of like was maybe making you more mouthy than you usually are. But now when Mars basically squares Pluto, and when it enters Scorpio, it squares Pluto November 5th. So at that day, you will probably see some kind of like power struggles. It's Tuesday, so be careful about that, And then on the 18th, when it enters Scorpio, Scorpio is a jealous and secretive sign. So we all kind of like pick up those vibes. So we all might get into kind of like that level. And then you have Ace of Cups. Maybe there is like something new or something refreshed moving forward. Ace of Cups refers to things that we love, that makes us happy, that what's that Marie Kondo, sparks joy kind of a thing. Hierophant. So this is really good. This is about rules of unity. Not just unity, but rules of unity. Different people have different impressions about unity. And this is really going back to that November 5th, where, you will really need to decide what to do. So, for example, if you're a person who likes monogamy, then don't even consider trying to go polyamory kind of like a way, or somebody saying, well, it's all good. Well, it's good as long as it works for them. I mean, it's kind of like that you're air sign, so you are very cerebral, but at the same time you're very curious, and that's what air signs are. So sometimes you go for combinations which in your gut you feel, should I not? I don't know what to do about that. So the Hierophant is really saying, wait a minute, this kind of structure worked and worked and worked. This century, last century, centuries below, they shall not steal, they shall not cheat, blah 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 blah. So these are not just that you came up with some capricious rules. These rules are here that have been established by people, kind of tried and true, right? And I know you can be very rebellious. Most people don't know Libras can be very forceful, especially when angry. So this kind of grounding effect is kind of like taking place the entire month. Also, kind of, guys, you need to think a little bit down the road when on 25th of November, so going to have that kind of like tug of war between your head and between your heart, because you clearly want to go in one direction, but only if certain things are done properly, kind of a thing, right? You need to serve your own inner needs, but at the same time you also want to see how to make it work with a partner. So it's going to be your sister sign, sister planet, your planet Venus, that is going to enter Capricorn end of the month, November 25th, Monday. At that point, it's going to be a liftoff for you. This also can talk about that you are like really in the good books of your bosses, but that is going to be only end of the month, because it can look like that somebody's hiding from you the entire month. We have Page of Swords. So there was some kind of discussion. Maybe somebody was like right in your face. This can actually also indicate this whole Mercury retrograde thing, which we have all the way until November 20th, right? And so it can be lots of miscommunication, and even expressing your feelings could be hard, because you are thinking you're saying something nice and oh, can you do that? It's just like one of those things when you say, I love you, but, and instead of but, maybe you should say and, but they hear but and they freak out, and the entire thing centers on that. So that kind of stuff may happen, where you're going to kind of like start pulling your own hair and say, what the heck is happening? And there is the Emperor, not the Empress. Empress is the Venus card over here. So here we see Aries over here, which is the opposite to you. So surely Aries is linked to Mars, which is peaking on November 5th, and I guess we are seeing that here. So it's almost like a balance between what your head wants and what rules need to be, to morality, because this card indicates, look, that's not nice, kind of a thing, but that's not something I'll subscribe. It's going to be lots of, look at this, we have air, fire, and earth, fire, air, and earth over here. So, and it's being crossed with water. So they're all four elements. This is actually really good, meaning things are pulled together properly. So then we have Three of Swords. It's kind of weird. I had this hint over here, that relationship over here. Maybe somebody is being a jerk about this relationship. Maybe somebody's saying, you know, how about we try a threesome? You might think this is really sexy, because when, you know, Mars enters Scorpio, like all kinds of kinky ideas come through, and it's kind of very intense. And also Mercury retrograde piled on it, kind of like stacked on it. It feels, yeah, you know, that's doable. I can do it. I can handle it. And then stuff happens and you cannot handle it, because look at this whole burst of idea, yeah, sure, let's do it, kind of a thing, might not end well. Three of Swords is like usually talking about rejection or introduction of another person, that somebody is kicking in. And I also see three people over here, and it could be also that, what is the saying, journal. And that's kind of like really interesting, because on November 12th we are having full moon in Taurus. So that's a good one, because you see Taurus is also ruled with Venus, just like you are. And that night is going to be extremely important for you. It kind of like resonates 12. It's like 3 vibration, just like this one. That whole bunch of stuff will be popping up. You, again, on that day, you might kind of like really wonder, what are you ready for? You might have few conflicts at work. You might have few conflicts that is falling on Tuesday. You might have few conflicts in your personal life. These rules, this is almost like worldly rules. This is like spiritual rule. And you're going to put your foot down, I think, at some point. And it's almost like you're going to start, like, because Venus is usually forcing your sign to feel comfort. Comfort is very important. And kind of like that's a good litmus test if somebody's coming in your life bringing this comfort or not. And there is a 10 of Cups. Look at this. It is 1 and it is 10. So now, is everything going to happen just in a quick span of a month? It will for a few of you. This freaking whole family, enjoyment, generations, and even the cat. The same kitty. That's like a nice catch from an artist. I never compare them. It was something that you started, and now finding a mate, pulling through to that family. So see, that's that rush that I'm seeing. Be careful. You're doing that. You're in Mercury retrograde, but you're clearly oriented in, like, it looks like you want marriage. You want something very solid. You clearly, maybe this children means you want a child as well, that I see here in the process. So what is going to take and what's going to be here that is causing this huge detour? I'm going to clarify that. So the environment is 3 of Pentacles. So that's good. Somebody's coming through. So this can be, somebody in your love life saying, hey, let's work things out. And that goes back to this, give your relationship a chance. Maybe you are being taken by something, some kind of like things happening your way. Maybe you're feeling, as I said, that somebody's being secretive toward you and your interpretation is like no transparency. You're a jerk, you're doing something, and maybe kind of like jumping the gun over there. So that's kind of like really important to look over there. That's going to improve the communication on November 20th when we exit Mercury retrograde. It's going to immediately start feeling better, right? So let's see your hopes and fears. It's 6 of Cups. Yeah, that's the Mercury retrograde again showing up. It's kind of like reminiscing about different things and how do I do things. On the 5th, you might have a conflict of clash of values, clash of ideas, power struggles, right? And on the 6th, you'll go, oh, I wish things were the way they were. There is like that romanticizing things. This is also kind of like Venus driven. And you're really thinking about how things have been in the past. This could be one of those nights when you're playing old songs, watching the old photo albums, that sort of thing, which initially starts to be, oh, it's cool, look at that. And then it kind of like makes you feel that maybe you are like missing out, that you are losing out, and it can kind of like spiral down, because I do see that emotional component being big times on a highlight. That sentence makes no sense. Like emotional component is going to be really, really high this month. So, but there is Libra peeking through. There is Libra. You're almost like having something in the back of your mind that you're saying to yourself, I don't know about that. So almost like a head is pushing in one direction, heart is pushing in another. So that's where things need to be. And there's a 5 of Pentacles. I think it's overall fear. Look at that. Something that has been, and maybe you feel kind of like let out, or maybe that's what I said, like, I mean, maybe there's a time to kind of like rip off that band-aid and move forward. You guys also are going to have a good month career-wise, job-wise. Not initially, like toward the end of the month when we start pushing to Sagittarius, 22nd on, it's going to start feeling like things are really doing very, very well, right? So you kind of like need to understand that that you need to kind of like bide your time and prepare everything properly, and things will go. Because like these pages mean that like ideas are still half baked and they need to brew a little bit more. You see, the Emperor is like sort of like where you want to be, where you want to achieve, how you really want to move it forward, and so on. So you really want that stability, you really want that control over the situation. But it feels like maybe that you're overspending. It feels like things are coming at you, like, I mean, that you have to deal with that you really didn't think of. So it is a matter of collaboration, but collaboration is relatively easy for you, except in this situation, it looks like that there are some other people who are messing it up. Now, if you're single, you may have two different suitors coming your way, and they're going to have completely two different flavors, completely different. One is going to maybe, like, I mean, enjoy food and have an idea of going to some lavish events, kind of like being all in kind of like showing things, show off a bit. You kind of like don't mind that. That's kind of like that Venus aspect. So it will be really good to kind of like have something about it. You also have to figure out, are you willing to work with this person long term? Because that person can equally think of you as a possession and maybe make you into a trophy. But when the new trophy comes by, you might just be replaced. The other person could be a very active person. It could be like one person is kind of like more laid back. The other person is, let's do stuff. Let's move forward. And it's going to ask you to step up. And it could be a person who is a little bit different from you. It could be a foreigner. It could be very, very different. In fact, you will almost like be counterintuitive this month. You will, as because of Venus, as I said, it's kind of like going all over the place until the 27th. Is it 27th? No, 25th, when Venus enters Capricorn. That's when things really start to move forward. But something for you might happen really, really fast. Something for you can really be unexpected. Just beware. Whirlwind romance can be really whirlwind. You can end up doing something really quickly, and you can also quickly after that get hurt. So slow and steady wins the race kind of a thing. And yeah, air sign telling you this is like, I don't want that kind of cat. So just be careful that you really spend some time to reveal this person's true character, and you can just get a peek of it like at 6 months. I mean, of course, the first month and 2 months you're getting a feeling if you really want to be around this person, but then you're getting this idea if you really want to be about this person, and only after a year you can really know and say, hey, I know this person. Well, some people are really good card artists, but you're an air sign. Let me see that Three of Swords. Let me see this like Five of Pentacles. Why are they here? I mean, a good thing is like that people want to work with you, and I really think this month is going to be really about establishing your own needs. I don't know if I need to clarify anything else. Well, this one wants to speak service. That's more or less about Venus. Then we have here constancy. Yeah, I told you. Bide your time. Try to figure out somebody's true character. See, constancy is like, I mean, really interesting card. We see this lady here. She's kind of like dressed, I guess, in a kind of almost like a Greek style kind of clothing over here. But she kind of has these two boulders where it's almost like making me believe that she's collecting the stuff to build this, you know, lavish residence over here. This is about steadiness. This is about somebody being reliable. This is about, you know, long-term, I guess, accountability. I really think that maybe you're going to feel that somebody is really disloyal, because that whole sense of morality is coming through over here, right? So I guess consistency is talking about making sure, and that's why you're maybe thinking about the past, just saying, were things from the past the same as today? Because especially if you're a woman, maybe you met a guy who put his best foot forward and tried to seduce you, and then once that has been done, oh, they don't have to do anything. And that is like, for us, especially for Libra, is like, oh, moment, like where you kind of like thought, well, this is the way you're going to be, that's the behavior you'll maintain. So it's almost like that maybe you're looking for something unrealistic, which they were going out of their way because they really liked you, right? And this card, which in Vera Sibilla is called Domestico, right? Servant, is basically about receiving help or offering help. It's about being well-mannered. And I really think that is something really, really important, right? And you are maybe questioning certain feelings that you have. Almost like saying to yourself, oh, my feelings are wrong. This is also about clarifying motives, knowing what is true, right? Maybe your partner is not supportive. Maybe you are not having this gallant attitude that you kind of like really, really wanted. So I really would say here that this whole month is going to be a little bit of a test with this kind of like rambunctious Mars that is coming through, where you should just accept things with gratitude. Like, I mean, even Emperor and Hierophant, with these two powerful forces that we see here, and they're like sort of an upgrade of just the regular Joe Schmo kind of like a thing, right? So, you know, you need to kind of like clear in your head if the people who you're meeting or who you are with are really there for you for true reasons, right? You know, also that can reflect back to business, and kind of like wondering, you know, who are the people who will help you and who are people who won't help you. I really think that slow and steady is going to be really important, right? Because even at work, something that might not be possible in the beginning of the month is going to be really possible. It's going to be that emotional fulfillment. But maybe there is like something that you feel, I don't know, that maybe need to reorganize your budgets and that kind of stuff, right? And then this Merchant, which is kind of like really important because this is the card of poverty or losses. But in this particular deck, I actually don't mind this card at all. And look, we are seeing here the light is like, we see where we are going, we know we are doing. Yes, they're passing the church. So again, this is suggesting to me somebody might be in some kind of like hanky-panky that is going on, or maybe you're trying to recover your relationships from something that has happened in the past. It could be some of those things happening, right? And Merchant was reversed, so Mercante, right? It represents success, ambition. That would be upper middle class in the 17th, 18th century when they made this kind of cards. But when it's reversed, it's talking about business failure, just like this card does. So this is warning you against investing. I mean, this is my ascendant. It's weirdly enough that I'm seeing this reading because I was just thinking, okay, I have to figure out some investment protocols. So I guess that's not the time for it because it's going to fail. But this is also kind of like talking about be careful about new venture or new negotiations. So when it comes to relationships, it almost looks like that you're not seeing eye to eye with someone about how to do things pragmatically day to day, right? I think you kind of like are looking this high end, your air sign, but they're looking kind of like, oh, I am here in the moment. I just want to do what I want to do. So do not be talked into something that you don't feel comfortable, because that can cause, you know, difficulties and setbacks and of course disappointment, and that is not going to make you happy. All right, my Libra, just also make sure that you check your ascendant, you check your moon sign. Some people check their Venus sign because it kind of gives you more perspective. It's a general reading, so one of those will resonate stronger than the others. I have pulled one more card for you that I'll read for you. And let's go with this. You got Talisman. it says, wisdom allows you to recognize traps on the road and familiar patterns that you want to avoid. It also enables you to quickly gather information about where you are on your journey. It helps you recognize your allies and know how to find the best routes along the way. Now you're at a place where you know the right things to do and the best choices to make. You really can't commit a mistake. Whatever your inquiry, great fortune awaits you, for you have the wisdom to arrive at the right decision. You've learned your lessons and earned the right to your success. So I feel that destiny is pushing you through the hoops to ensure that you are positioned properly, that maybe you're going to encounter a few bumps in the road this month. As I said, it's going to be the 5th and the 18th, kind of like really tense period, but that's for your good, that you do not fools rush in. Beware of that. Otherwise, it looks like that you're repositioning yourself. You are kind of like really focusing what is important over here, and things will actually work out for you. So it's just that Mercury retrograde that sometimes skews, it's kind of like the house of mirrors, skews that reality. So don't believe it. Just slow and steady wins the race. You're going places, you're going to get there. So Libra, thanks for listening. If you want a reading with me, contact me with cattarot.ca. Is my social media, so please subscribe, please visit. There are like daily tarot readings. And until the next time, guys, that I love you, and I'll talk to you soon.